Hi everybody. Good morning. So yes, I'm here thrilled to be talking about a real topical subject of sustainability. And I'm sure it's close to most people's hearts. If you're not waking up every morning thinking about how you can change the world, certainly on the news, it's very prevalent that we've all got our part to play. And certainly, the UN only this week has spoken around how if we don't take action on emissions, that quite honestly there's going to be no coral reefs by 2030, which is quite poignant, I think. So some really key messages coming out. I'm not here to talk about the political agenda, you'll be pleased to know, not qualified to do that. I'm here really to talk about how we can possibly make a difference within the workplace. And actually we are the largest forum for change, really. We have access to the widest number of people, so unfortunately this is probably going to be another expectation that's landed on employers, and I know Guy was sort of talking about that a moment ago, increasing expectations, but how do we translate that to the workplace? So some research of my own. I'm going to go through some numbers to put it into context. There's loads of research out there, and I'm sure that you've possibly looked at some numbers, but this is from GRID, so this is the Health and Risk collective that reports back into the government for driving change and reporting back on what's happening on the workplace. And you'll see there's some poignant stats. So quite recently this was conducted, and you'll see that 64% of employers are now considering ESG a priority when selecting an employee benefit provider. So this is throughout the supply chain, people are starting to think about how they can integrate ESG and align it to their own corporate benefits. You've got 43% of them saying now that they have a specialist team in order to assess those credentials, which is 19% up on last year. So we are seeing a shift in terms of employers looking for ESG credentials when they're considering the supply chain. From an employee perspective, you've got here 39% of employees saying that it's really important that they choose partners and suppliers that have those ESG credentials and a policy. Now, while that might not be a big stat, when you're looking at retaining and attracting the best workforce you possibly can, the best people, can we really afford to alienate 39% of the workforce? And with new generations coming through the workplace, this is only becoming an increasing focus, even on the backdrop of cost of living crisis and other things that are very prevalent at the moment. We've got 44% of employees saying it's a priority for them to work with a company with a strong ESG policy. So again, growing in terms of focus through the workplace. So how can you put that into your benefits strategy, and how do you align it? Well, it comes as no surprise. We always talk about strategy, but what does that actually mean? It takes a plan, it takes thought. And the first route to success really is to understand what your corporate sustainability objectives are, what are you actually looking to achieve as a business. And this will give you credibility when you then go to employees and talk to them about their sustainability journey. So really understand what your corporate objectives are. It's then about researching your suppliers' green credentials, so actually looking at what they offer and how they monitor their own policies and do they align to yours. And key questions to ask here are things like, who takes ownership for the governance of ESG and how is that distributed across your business? How is it monitored and is it on the risk register? Have there been any problems and have they been reported? So really, in any way you would look at DC governance or any other governance, actually put some questions around it and measures for success before choosing your supplier. It's then working with providers to offer some real green benefits, some climate-friendly benefits, and think beyond the old cycle to work, all important, wonderful benefits. But we've been working with a lot of employers at the moment to be really innovative in this space, to actually think about things like refurbished mobile phones, solar panels, electric car chargers, all through benefit schemes. And that starts to drive the sustainability agenda and make it real for employees. And it is about taking employees on that journey. So it's actually starting to think about how you're going to communicate it and really involve them and empower them because they want to be empowered. But why would you put this into the strategy? What is the sort of key benefits on the backdrop of everything you're asked to look at? And you've just seen that in the iceberg presentation earlier. There's a lot to think about and a lot that you're being asked to put as a priority. But really, if it isn't enough that we need to do the right thing, it really is about achieving your corporate objectives. So in a time when we're working hybrid and we're not really aligned necessarily to our business culture and what they're about, it really is an opportunity to think about how you realign to your corporate objectives and your cultural objectives. It's about attracting and retaining the right talent. So people want to make a difference. There's been a real sea change post-COVID. People are really looking to their employer, increased expectations, but they actually want to be empowered to make a difference. They want to be able to say, yes, my employer is completely behind this and living their values. To put your values on a screen now is just not enough in our experience. People want to see a lot more than that. And it is a great opportunity to engage with your employees. So actually start to think about how you can re-engage people with benefits, but just through sustainability as well. So really quite a powerful tool. So I thought about some quick wins because we all want to save time when we're looking to implement benefits and looking at all of our agenda items that we need to get done, basically. So the first thing is to really hold providers to account. So when you're reviewing your benefits, and we would recommend that you do that, make sure they're fit for purpose, incorporate green benefits, take the opportunity to hold providers to account. And we're actually doing a lot of this ourselves when we're working with clients. Make sure that even if they're the cheapest is on offer, if they don't meet your sustainable objectives, they're not necessarily the people that you select, and that will start to drive change. The other thing is to launch sustainable benefits, and Guy mentioned even before me around the flexible benefits and the technology, and really this is absolutely paramount in order to get your messages out. Think about consumer grade technology. Post-COVID we're interacting with banking, we're expecting a certain level of experience now when we implement tech. So think about how you can launch sustainable benefits through a great platform that hasn't got the administration burden, and make sure they're flexible, make sure that they can actually align to the benefits that you truly want to offer, so you can build them within the system, within a seamless journey, and that will get people engaged. The other thing is to offer incentives. We know that that's a great way to drive behaviours, so offer an incentive. If you select certain benefits, we've been working with a lot of companies on selecting certain benefits and then offering sustainable incentives at the same time. So for example, select cycle to work, and what we're going to do is then plant mangrove trees or clear plastic from the ocean, and then give people the ability to track that through interactive dashboards. So you're empowering employees, but they can see the difference that they're making and communicate that back to the workforce and their friends, and then you know that you're going to get momentum around change. And we would hope that if all of that was taking place, that we might be able to drive change at the government. Now that's a tough ask. I mean, they've got a lot on their plate too, haven't they, from all accounts. But really, the sustainability agenda has to be a priority. And we know that's likely to hit the workforce at some point. If you think about, I mean, I started my career back in pension days and pension change and the introduction of automatic enrolment. I'm certainly showing my length of time being in the industry. But that hit the workforce and the workplace and employers quite quickly, really, in the context of what work needed to be done to deliver it. There was no sort of appreciation that the technology needed to be facilitated, the processes need to be facilitated. So really it's setting yourself up that if change is going to come, which it will eventually, that you set yourself up well in order to be able to support that and actually be ahead of the game. But we know if we select the right suppliers, hold them to account, actually we are going to drive change upwards. So it's likely that the government would probably, in the same way they've done pensions, want to be involved at some point to a higher level because they'll want to drive it. And we really think, at Barnett Waddingham, we hope that the government will get on side with offering more tax incentives on specifically green benefits, because at the moment it's hit and miss. Some are good and some could be a lot better, as we know. So actually more tax breaks and more incentive for people to offer these to employees would be good. It would also be good to have an industry standard target, so something that's mandated or some guiding principles, because whilst we feel that actually you can put providers side by side and ask these questions, if it's not consistent across all sectors or all employer size, it's very difficult to then drive some of the change that we're talking about. So really some of this mandated or certainly guiding principles in the similar way that we have governance around pensions would help with that. So it would be our hope that maybe they'll get to that point. And more communication on progress against targets. So we need to know how we're doing more often, and I think that would help, because at the moment it is a feeling when I'm speaking to most employers that actually there's no real guidance of what they should or shouldn't be doing. They're sort of doing the best they can and doing a good job, but it could be a lot clearer. So I've gone through quite a bit. I'm just thinking sort of plan for success, because if you plan, then obviously you've got more chance of succeeding. So to bring all that together, it really is aligning your benefit strategy to your corporate objectives. So really know where you're heading, align it with your business, and bring your culture into the employee journey. They'll value it more. Bring green procurement in, so make sure that your providers are green, make sure that they are held account and they align to your own values. Then launch green benefits through great technology, through any means you need to, in order to make sure that the right benefits are on offer and people are really engaged with them. And then offer employees incentives. We know that drives the right behaviour. If you're offering something when they have certain behaviours, then and they can see the impact of that, they're more likely to do it. And engage employees. There's little point in doing all the groundwork to then not engage employees and have them come on the journey, because we know each individual can make a little difference. Actually, en masse, that's going to be a big difference. And it really is about having people in your planet first. So actually put it at the heart of your benefit strategy, put it at the heart of what you're delivering to employees. And only then will we start to see mass change and the change that's required. And we've been doing some work in that ourselves. So please do feel free to pop by our stand and talk to us if you've got any questions, and I think I've got some time to take some questions now anyway. So we're stand 32 if you want to speak to us.